Well, surprise, surprise. Apparently, Lori Vallow snaps at a judge. Well, we know which judge, the judge that we like, who covered her trials. Oh, gosh, sure. Are you okay over there? He's like choking in the back. Are you okay? Cheryl says hi. Hello. He's back here. He's good. He's fine. Hi, cutie boy. All right, y'all. So, Lori Vallow apparently snaps at the judge during a restitution hearing. Lori Vallow just continues being just completely unhinged. I don't know. That woman is wild. I think she's actually back in Utah right now to serve the rest of her prison sentence because Lori Vallow, she had 3 trials. Man, this woman. She had a trial in Utah. She had a trial in, sorry, not Utah, Idaho. Man, sometimes I get Utah and Idaho mixed up. I'm so sorry about that. But she had a trial in Idaho. She had a trial in Arizona. Well, actually 2 trials in Arizona. And apparently, I don't know, based on this title, it says Lori Vallow Dable snaps at judge after being ordered to pay restitution to Kay Woodcock. We all know how Lori feels about Kay Woodcock. Lori was pissed that the money that she thought she was going to receive after having her husband murdered by her brother, she thought she was going to get that life insurance money. No. Charles secretly changed it to Kay Woodcock, his sister. And during Lori Vallow's trial, we got to hear that phone call where she calls the insurance company. She's like, oh, hey, yeah, you know, my husband, yeah, he died. So yeah, I'm here to collect my money. And they're like, who are you? Oh, you know what? Sorry, you're not the beneficiary. It seems like the beneficiary was changed a little while ago. And that is when Lori Vallow had that realization that, oh shit, did I just kill my husband for no reason? It's actually interesting that we're covering Lori and Kouri. And I just realized that the name sort of rhymes. But both women are accused. Well, one of them's already been convicted, but both women were accused of murdering their husband for what? For money, right? And then similarly, in Lori's situation, Kouri thought that she was a beneficiary. Kouri thought she was going to get this money, it seems. And when Kouri Richins passed away, surprise, surprise, he also secretly changed it because he thought that she might be up to something. And she, ended up not being the beneficiary. Woo. Hi, Taxi. How are you doing today? Hey, Jessica. Hey, Kevin. Is there a way to remove the @ signs in front of the usernames on YouTube? I really hate that they added that because it just seems redundant to me. Why do we need to have an @ sign in front of everyone's username? I don't know. I just get annoyed with like small stuff like that. Lori and Kouri up trying to collect the money after the murders. Oh man, but their victims had been faster. Hey Jacqueline, how are you doing today? Hello, I hope you guys are doing well. So yeah, we're going to be covering Lori Vallow today, her restitution hearing, and then we're going to jump into Kouri Richins. So Lori Vallow was ordered to pay restitution to the victims. And again, in Arizona, there were 2 trials. One for the murder of her husband, her 4th husband, Charles Vallow. He was murdered by Lori's brother. And then a few months after that, while the investigation was happening, what does Lori and what does her brother do? They concoct another attempted murder, and this was of Brandon Boudreaux. Brandon Boudreaux was married to Melanie Boudreaux, who is Lori Vallow's niece. So, pretty crazy. And Kay Woodcock, if you guys don't know who Kay Woodcock is, Kay and Larry Woodcock, they're the grandparents of JJ because technically Lori and her 4th husband, Charles, did adopt JJ. That was Charles's sister's son, who they adopted. Charles's sister was not in a good place at the time, and so they decided to adopt JJ. And unfortunately, after living for 7 to 8 years, Lori had him murdered. Some really sad stuff. So she's ordered to pay restitution to Kay Woodcock, and she's not happy. She's not happy. So let's jump over to the hearing. And I haven't actually seen the hearing yet. I've only seen the thumbnail and I've seen some of the clips, little like titles and all that stuff, but I haven't actually listened to it. But by looking at the original thumbnail that East Idaho News posted with Lori's face and Trina Kay's face, if you guys don't know who Trina is, she was an amazing prosecutor in the 2 cases in Arizona. Trina has that what the fuck look face on her, and you would think by now, Trina, the judge, maybe even us, the audience, maybe we should already be used to Lori Vallow's antics and her snaps and her unhinged shit. But sometimes it still comes at us at a surprise. Let's hop on over here. Hey, Hey, Roar TV. Thank you so much for the reset for 22. Tier 2 for 88 months. Thank you, thank you. I hope you're doing well, and I hope the weather's not too cold over there yet. Lori unhappy makes me happy. Hey, gamer girl, how are you doing today? Hey, Morton. I hope you're doing well. Hello, hello. All right, y'all, let's jump on over here. So again, this is from East Idaho News. They covered the hearing from a couple days ago. And I think it's a short hearing. It's only like 6 minutes long. I think that's the entire hearing. I don't think it's a clip of a hearing.
CR 2021-001-704 and CR 2022-001-242.
Where's Lori? Have they not brought in Lori again yet? She's supposed to be in this upper right-hand screen. Hi, Trina.
State of Arizona versus Lori Daybell. Is Ms. Daybell on? Is that the Joab Fedorf?
Hello, Lori?
Mr.
You know what? Lori's too busy doing the clown makeup. That's probably why. She's getting ready right now. She got to do the clown makeup. She got to do the Shih Tzu hair. Lori opened a portal to hell and mistook Satan for Jesus. Classical noob mistake. Oh my gosh. I was watching this South Park episode where they were using Labubus to summon Satan. That shit was so fucking unhinged. But it was so fucking funny.
Mr. Lum, could I have you turn your camera off just to not be a distraction?
Oh, here comes Lori.
All right. I called the case. Let's have the state announce.
Trina K on behalf of the state.
And defendant.
Oh, and I forgot to mention, y'all, Lori was representing herself during the 2 trials in Arizona.
Lori Daybell for the defense.
All right, I can hear everyone fine. This is the time set for restitution hearing. Have there been any agreements?
Your Honor, I am not sure. I was going to check with Ms. Daybell if she would stipulate to anything. I do have one correction in the documents on bait stamp 101133. What we've learned is that the gas receipts that were provided are not all of the gas receipts, and so that's why we had done the mileage.
Oh, yeah, maybe gas receipts and the mileage of the experts for this case.
But we forgot to remove the gas receipts themselves. So we should actually remove $348.98.
Yeah, because I think maybe it's the same as when you're doing your expense reports, but I think you can either claim for mileage or you can claim for the gas that you spent on it. You can't claim for both. I think that's what they're talking about. So maybe there was a redundancy there.
Which would make the total restitution request $8,600.54.
Look at Lori over there looking so important, writing things down. She's like, no, 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 no.
Okay.
Someone get her a quill.
I'll ask the defendant, are you stipulating to any restitution?
Your Honor, on Wednesday night, I did receive those Bates numbers that were supposed to be given to me from my advisory council. They mailed them to me. I just got them. I was able to review those. Those ended at Bates number 101161. And yesterday I was informed by my advisory council that the state sent over one more document on Tuesday by email to my advisory council. And I have not seen that document. It's Bates number 101162. It is my understanding, since I talked to my advisory council yesterday, that that document is a document. They kind of explained what it was to me. And so my understanding is.
What? What did she just say? I feel like she was on a really good roll there. But sometimes she has a habit of just like talking and then she like gets really tripped up and then the whole thing just like falls apart. What the hell was she saying?
Is a document. They kind of explained what it was to me. And so my understanding is, and although I'm aware that counseling, thank you. Although I'm aware that counseling costs can be included in restitution, this document turned over by the state is an Excel spreadsheet totaling $3,147 in counseling.
Wait, is this like counseling costs? Like counseling, not like attorney/counsel, but like counseling as in like maybe like getting therapy? Is this like therapy help for maybe like the victim's family members?
There are no invoices from doctors or insurance companies to my knowledge. So the document in and of
Okay, that answers my question.
itself seems to be insufficient. I haven't actually seen it. However,
3K seems low. Yeah, it does.
based on how my trials were conducted, since experience tells me that regardless of what I say or what anybody else says, you're
Oh.
going to order it. I am
Here we fucking go. I thought she was doing pretty decent, and then she's got to do the whole thing like, poor me, pity me. You guys are just up against me. Doesn't matter what I say, anyways. You're just going to rule against me. Like, Lori, shut the fuck up.
However, based on how my trials were conducted, since experience tells me that regardless of what I say or what anybody else says, you're going to order it, I am willing to stipulate today.
Okay. You could have just said you're going to stipulate without all the bullshit. Thanks.
It is my understanding that I have already been ordered by this court to pay over $534,000
Oh, what's going on with the audio?
in fees, in fines, surcharges, and court fees.
Wait, 500 grand only in. We're in Arizona, right? Yeah, only in Arizona. Is it Arizona and in Idaho? Is that a combined fee?
So you can add Ms. Woodcock's total of $12,096.97 of restitution to my tab.
And Your Honor, with that correction, it would actually be 11.
God, I fucking hate her so much because the way that she said that, you can just add Miss K. Woodcock's restitution total to my tab. Like she said it with such smugness, such fucking smugness. She really doesn't care how she affected other people. She just really doesn't. All she cares about is how she lost at the end and that she's just so fucking bitter. Oh my goodness. Hey, Richie, how are you doing today? Hello. 500K just in Arizona. Okay, because what's her restitution total in Idaho?
$11,747.99.
Hold on, 11,740.
$7.99.
And just look at her smiling. So fucking smug. Oh god, she's just so gross. Oh boy. I'm so glad that her trial's over. You don't have to go through Lori anymore. Her bullshit. Hi Forky, how are you doing today? Oh man, I'm sorry. I feel like I need to take her in doses. That's why I'm pausing so much. She really does just, yeah, she really does just annoy me. I really don't like people like her. Hey, Paddle Cam, how are you doing today? Yeah, she's so proud of herself. She's an asshole. Oh, yes, you're showing up as Alice in Wonderlands. Is that your? Oh, but you still have the same YouTube profile picture though. Maybe you're using your alt account or something. But hi, Nicole, how's it going? I like both names. Both names work for me.
$747.99.
Hold on, 11,740.
$7.99.
She's like giggling back there. Dude, Kay is so fucking over her. Miss K is like, please get this bitch off my screen. Kay's like, I'm so over her. I got better things to do.
All right, Ms. Daybell, you're stipulating to pay restitution to Kay Woodcock in the amount of $11,747.99. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Did any
Good.
drugs, alcohol, or medication in the last 24 hours that would affect your ability to make this decision?
Have I been on any drugs, Your Honor? Is that what you're asking?
Any diarrhea, any UTIs, you know, like what was the other shit that you're complaining about again? She just wants to be an asshole, just being an asshole. Seriously. This is a 6-minute hearing. Just fucking answer the question without being such an asshole about it. But that's just how pitiful she is. And bitter.
Did any drugs, alcohol, or medication in the last 24 hours that would affect your ability to make this decision?
Have I been on any drugs, Your Honor? Is that what you're asking?
No, I'm asking, have you had any drugs, alcohol, or medication that would affect your ability to understand or make this decision today?
Is Your Honor aware that I am in prison?
This is not the first time he's asked her this, right? I've heard this before in other previous hearings, in other cases that we covered. I don't know if Lori has never been asked this before, and she thinks that the judge is just being an asshole and asking her a very, like, you know, a question where she's like, well, obviously I don't have access to drugs or medication. Like, I'm in prison. Hello. Like, I feel like because she's gone through other trials, other cases, and she has been representing herself, she's definitely heard this question before. Why is she acting like this?
Or make this decision today.
Is Your Honor aware that I am in prison? I have no access to any of those things. So no, the answer is no, I have not.
Thank you for answering the question. Has anyone promised you anything in exchange for your agreement to pay this restitution?
No.
And I love this, Judge. Thank you for your question, for your answer. You know, because it's like, you're a fucking child right now. I'm not going to engage with you. I'll keep it short. That's it. That's what you do with like children like this. People that are so immature. Keep it short. Don't fucking feed into that shit.
Has anyone forced you, threatened you, or coerced you to get you to agree to pay this restitution?
Only my trials, Your Honor, coerced me.
All right. The court.
And that's what happens when they don't get what they want. If you don't engage with them, they're going to keep on pushing. She's going to keep on pushing. That's what she's doing right now. She's being so immature. Wow. Wild.
Finds that your agreement is knowingly, intelligently, voluntarily made. It's ordered that you pay $11,747.99 in restitution to Kay Woodcock. The restitution would take priority over any other fines and fees that have been imposed. And it's ordered that that restitution be paid out at the maximum rate allowable out of any prison account.
Look at Trina. She's so done.
Ms. Kay, do you anticipate any other restitution requests?
Your Honor, we are still awaiting restitution requests from Brandon Boudreau.
There she goes again. You see her smiling? She thinks it's a joke. You ruin these people's lives. And yeah, Brandon's not dead, but it's pretty fucking traumatizing for what he went through. And not only that, so there's like way more like a lot of you guys did follow the trial with me, but for those of you guys who didn't, not only was there an attempted murder on Brandon Boudreau, but it seems like he might think that his ex-wife is involved, and he currently still shares the 2 children with the ex-wife. So it's kind of a weird situation. We don't know if the ex-wife, if if Trina K has anything on her, and maybe at some point she'll be like indicted or something. But it's a pretty traumatizing situation. And then you got 2 kids that you're sharing together, that you're raising together. Very awkward.
Know that he's been busy with work and he hasn't got all of those documents together. When I get those, I will submit them to advisory council and to Ms. Daybell's investigator, who seems to be able to get that to her much easier.
It's possible that Lori could just be having a side conversation with someone and is like laughing and giggling at something else happening in the side, maybe. But that's also really weird too, because again, this is not a long hearing. It's only 6 minutes long. It just seems like she doesn't take anything seriously. I think she still wants to have that sort of attitude to other people that's like, I don't care that I'm in this situation. I'm so happy. You guys, you can't fuck with Lori's happiness. Like, I don't know. I think it's really weird that I think she really does care about what people think of her. And what's at the utmost importance is that she comes off as someone that is so very happy and that nothing fazed her. And that, the other people that were against her, that they're not winning because, you didn't take down Lori at the end of the day. She's still in a good mood. I don't know. That's why I couldn't be a judge. I wouldn't have the self-control to deal with people like her. Yes, lots of patience. Lots of patience. Lori still wants followers, I feel like. Oh, there was something interesting that popped on my YouTube, actually. It was, there's like some drama happening right now in the true crime community. And random shit just pops on my feed. I think it's either was it on X or was it on YouTube? I don't remember. But apparently there was like an employee that used to work for Anna Elise. She's the one that does like, I think 10 to Life and Seriously. I think that's that's the 2 stuff that she has. And she was talking about how she had like an ex-employee who was going to Lori Vallow's trial. And apparently this employee was secretly like messaging Lori, like trying to befriend her or something. I don't know. I thought it was kind of weird and interesting. I don't know if there's any like truth to that, but it just sounded really pretty fucking weird. Yeah. I don't know. It's a lot that's happening right now, and I just feel like it's so nuanced, and I feel like you would have to deep dive into it to understand what's going on. I tried to just like vaguely watch some stuff here and there, but yeah, I'm still pretty fucking lost. All right, back to Lori.
Bell's investigator who seems to be able to get that to her.
Oh, sorry. The reason why I brought that up was because, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Lori Vallow does have people that do, correspond with her, or, maybe see her as like a celebrity, or if they just like kind of like find her interesting and they want to talk to her, maybe they send her stuff and like that. So maybe like, maybe when she does these kind of things, it's a way for her to show that, hey, like I'm still innocent. I didn't do this. And hopefully there'll be people that will believe me, and they will, maybe send me some shit while I'm in prison. I can see that. Anyways.
Submit them to advisory council and to Miss Daybell's investigator who seems to be able to get that to her much easier. And just for the record, Miss Woodcock is still ongoing counseling, so there could be subsequent requests.
Well, the court retains jurisdiction over the matter of restitution for the period that the defendant is serving a sentence. So I'm not setting any further hearings at this time. We'll wait and see if any requests for hearing come in. All right, thank you. We'll be at recess.
Thank you.
Yeah, she just reminds me of like a mean girl, like mean girl from high school. Mean girl from high school, does shit to like bully other people. And then when she's supposed to be held accountable, she's like, oh, I don't care. I don't care. This doesn't faze me at all. I'm in good spirits. I'm in good mood. This doesn't bother me one bit. That's just like, the vibe that she gives me. All right, guys. So next thing, that's Lori Vallow right there, ordered to pay restitution. And we don't know how much she's going to be ordered to pay for Brendan Boudreaux. There's also, Idaho. I don't know how much she was ordered to pay for that. But apparently it's $500K in Arizona. Good luck, Lori. All right, next thing we have, I wanted to cover Kouri Richins. So Kouri Richins, very similar to Lori. Kouri Richins is accused of murdering her husband, and it seems like the motivation was money. She thought that she was going to come into a lot of money after her husband was murdered. Now, there were these text messages that she sent to her paramour, if I remember correctly, where she told him that the moment she found out that she was not in control of her husband's estate, her husband's trust, she lost it. Apparently, she punched out her sister-in-law. Cops were called, and the cops had to confirm with the attorneys that, yes, Kouri, you in fact are not in charge of the estate. It is Eric Richins' sister, and it seems like he may have done it secretly before without your knowledge. And the reason why that happened was because Eric Richins found out that Kouri had been doing some really weird shit with their money. Apparently, she took money that was supposed to be, I forgot where she got the money from initially. Was it money for the tax payments for his company, I think? Apparently, there was money that was supposed to be used for something else. Oh, no. Here's what she did. Okay. She apparently took out a HELOC without his knowledge on their marital home, and she used that money to fund her real estate company. She didn't tell him that. It's really weird. And so while she's running this real estate company, she flips houses and shit. So it's real estate, but then also, I guess what do you call people who flip houses? Contractors or something like that? I don't know. Anyway, so for 2 years, she was flipping houses, and her business was not really doing well. What she would do, or allegedly, she would take money that was supposed to be allocated to pay for her husband's business taxes, because he has his own company. He's got his own successful, it's a stone and masonry business. And she would take that money allegedly and use it to pay off her debts, her loans, but then she would borrow more money. And it was just a wild thing of her basically cycling other people's monies to pay off her debts. And then she would accrue more debt based on the state's allegations. So Kouri Richins, man, this stuff is pretty messy. But the last time that we covered Kouri Richins, she wanted to she essentially accused the state of hiding exculpatory evidence. So this is evidence that would help her in trial. And what was the key main thing was that the defense were essentially saying that, oh, well, the state has a star witness, and their star witness said that they never sold fentanyl to Kouri Richins. And the reason why fentanyl is pretty key here is because Eric Richins was found with a 5 times lethal amount of dose of fentanyl in his system. And that is how he died. Now, if Kouri Richins never got fentanyl from the drug dealer, then they're saying that, well, then she never had fentanyl. Eric probably got it on his own or somehow, or maybe, something else happened. Maybe it was tainted by the THC gummies. I don't know. I don't know what they're trying to say now. I feel like the story keeps changing. But they're saying that the drug dealer said that, like, oh, I think initially I said that it was fentanyl, but when you asked me that question, when the detectives were asking him that question, I was like really like fucked up. I was going through detoxing. I really wasn't myself. And I actually don't remember saying that. It wasn't until later on when the prosecutor and maybe like another detective interviewed the same person again later on. And they were like, oh, well, actually, yeah, it wasn't fentanyl. It was actually, it was actually oxys. I got it mixed up. I didn't know that blues back then was referred to oxys and not fentanyl. So I didn't sell fentanyl, I didn't sell the substance that killed Eric Richins. And so the defense is essentially saying that, okay, well, the state found out this information and never told us. It wasn't until we interviewed the witness ourselves that we found out that this was the new story. So that's really fucked up. And we want to know if there's any other discovery violations by the state. And not only that, they were saying that, well, because we have this new information, we think, and if you guys are caught with Kouri Richins, this is a wild one. We think Kouri Richins should be out on bail. The reason why I'm giggling a little bit is because Kouri Richins is she's a little bit scary, Kouri Richins was accused of this whole walk the dog letter where she was accused of witness tampering, writing this letter to her mom, essentially trying to get her mom to tell her brother to tell a story about her husband going to Mexico, getting fentanyl, and like this other story crap, right? Oh boy. So there was that accusation. And then like there's like the drama between Kouri Richins and Eric Richins' family. So that's her ex-husband, or sorry, not ex-husband. They're still technically married, but that's her husband, deceased husband's family members. So there's a lot of drama happening between there. And I don't know, I feel like, there's some really unhinged shit with Kouri Richins, and there's some really unhinged allegations about her mom that I think it would be a little bit scary to have Kouri Richins out on bail. But that is what the defense wanted. And that's pretty much where we left off. That's where my last coverage of Kouri Richins was. So now we have, there's some documents that are out. And I think I will, I wasn't going to cover some of the family drama stuff, but it's pretty messy. But we'll probably just like hop around here and there. But let's get to this right here. I actually shared this with my Discord, and I was like, man, these court documents, they are getting more and more theatrical, because this is what the defense starts with this quote right here. Truth is not what you want it to be. It is what it is, and you must bend to its power or live a lie. Miyamoto Musashi. I was like, oh, okay, we're starting with quotes now. Jeez, okay, this is interesting. Hey, Shanzo, how are you doing today? Hello, Moondog. Hi, Keandre. How's it going? Hello, 6 years. Oh my goodness, that is a long time. Hello, hello. All right, let me catch up with the YouTube really quick, and then we will hop back on with this court talk. If Chad Daybell is still able to have followers, I put nothing past anyone anymore. Lol. I haven't heard about the Chad Daybell followers, but again, yeah, I'm not surprised. Any of these times where we have these cases blow up and we have these pseudo celebrity, defendants or pseudo celebrity convicts, I'm not surprised if there are people that are generally very interested and intrigued and they want to reach out to these people themselves. Now, whether their purpose for reaching out is to maybe they can get like an inside knowledge of whether or not this person did it, or if they just want to have a connection with someone like that, or if they just want to be like a rescuer of some sort. I don't know. I don't know, man. Lori also thinks she can impress people by suggesting she will go to heaven, but us clueless plebs won't. Yeah, I don't know. Lori is Lori. Lori is Lori. Lori was livid in the call when she realized she couldn't get the life insurance money. Yeah. She was pissed because Kay won in terms of getting the money. But, I would say at the very end of the day, Kay did lose substantially because at the end of the day, she lost JJ. But I could see how Lori would see it as like, oh, she won because she got that $1 million, and she won because, blah, blah, blah. And You know, she's in jail. Lori's in jail and stuff like that. So I think Lori just tries really hard to put on like a happy front because she doesn't want maybe her haters, you know, in quotations, to know that, you know, maybe deep inside she is just really sad, lonely. But yeah. Someone did mention that as well, Nicole, about how this reminded them of the Sarah Boone Kinutsuroi clay thing where like the pottery is put back together with gold or something like that. Just so sad they end up going to such extremes for money. Yeah, it's really sad and really stupid. Hey Paul, how are you doing today? How's it going? Hello, hello. Hope you're doing well and I hope you had a good weekend. I read that as don't no harm, but it's do no harm. Duh. Hello, how are you doing today? Gossip for immature, jealous girls. These girls need a history lesson on women's rights. Taxi says hi to Paul. All right, so we're jumping onto this part right here with Kouri Richins. If you guys missed it earlier, we covered Lori Vallow, apparently, you know, being, I don't know if she snaps at the judge. I think she was just being a really smart asshole, like trying to be a smart asshole, like a smart aleck to the judge. And yeah, just being your typical unhinged Lori, you know, being rude to people for no reason. But, you know, she has an agenda. She's really pissed off at how the trial went. She's really pissed off at how stupid she looked, I think. And I think that's the reason why she was giving the judge an attitude for no reason, right? During that hearing. So if you guys missed that earlier, you feel free to rewind it. Can I use the word rewind? All right, so we're jumping over to Kouri Richins right now. So we start off with truth is not what you want it to be. It is what it is, and you must bend to its power or live a lie. So this is the defendant's reply to the state's opposition to the defendant's motion to reconsider bail and conditions of release and request for a hearing. So again, Kouri Richins wants out while the trial is pending. She's supposed to have her trial in February of 2026. It was delayed, and who knows if it's going to be delayed again. In arguing for Ms. Richins' detention, the state claimed that Carmen Lauber, that's again, is Kouri Richins, or was Kouri Richins' housemaid who allegedly procured the fentanyl pills for her. The state claimed that Carmen Lauber purchased fentanyl from Robert Crozier, again, that's supposed to be the store witness, and provided to Ms. Richins, who then somehow got her husband to ingest a fatal dose without his knowledge. The state has conceded that these alleged pills have never been located. The state has never claimed that Carmen Lauber tested these pills or had personal knowledge of their chemical makeup. Instead, the state has continuously relied on the argument that Carmen Lauber's testimony that she purchased fentanyl is reliable in large part because it is corroborated by other witnesses. This claim of corroboration has been pointed to in the state's pleadings, and the testimony regarding these corroborating witnesses was elicited by the state from Detective O'Driscoll at the preliminary hearing. Should we jump over to the preliminary hearing? Let's read it. Yeah, let's just do it. It cuts off. Recordings. Do you think the recordings the accurate testimony? Answer. I do. I sympathize with Ms. Lauber at this point, having been a year past the last time we talked about this. So I think the question might be an attorney, and then the answer might be the detective. Question. Sure. Did you have an opportunity to watch a video recording of the assistant to the U.S. attorney and some federal investigators interviewing Ms. Lauber? Answer. I didn't view it, but I was told about it. Question. Okay. Were you told? Cheryl says hi, by the way. Question. Okay. Were you told that they were interviewing her kind of pursuant to a grand jury subpoena and before the grand jury testimony? Answer. Yes, I'm remembering now that their appearance there and their interview of her was in regard to a grand jury subpoena that at the time we were not aware that they were planning. Question. Regarding Ms. Lauber's testimony, Ms. Lauber's interview with you and Detective Maynard, I want to perhaps clarify some of the transactions. Is it right to say that Ms. Lauber testified to one transaction with Susan Kohler involving Roxy's? Answer. Yes. Question. And then a transaction involving fentanyl on February the 11th, a second fentanyl on February the 26th, and a third on March 9th. Answer. Yes. Question. Regarding the fentanyl portions of the conversation, separate than the Roxy portions of the conversation, did detectives from Summit County talk with the intermediary between Carmen Lauber and the ultimate fentanyl dealer? Who is the ultimate fentanyl dealer? What a name title. You are the ultimate fentanyl dealer to Ms. Lauber. Answer. Yes. Question. And did that intermediary say that Ms. Lauber requested fentanyl? Answer. Yes. Question. Did Summit County detectives talk with the man who distributed the fentanyl to Ms. Lauber? Answer. Yes. Question. And did he say that she requested fentanyl? Answer, yes. Question, and that he ultimately provided fentanyl? Answer, yes. Mr. Bloodworth, oh, so that was the prosecutor. Mr. Bloodworth, thank you, Your Honor. Nothing further. Miss Lewis, just 3 of the 4 questions, and it cuts off there, so I don't need to read the rest of it. Dateline and the Adelsons. Huh? What's going on with the Dateline and the Adelsons? Please, what about Dateline and Adelsons? Did they had any content up at YouTube? Then they took it down, thanks. Oh, I don't know anything about that. Is that like something recent that happened or something that happened a while back? I haven't seen Donna Adelson on my YouTube timeline or my feed since her sentencing. Yeah, I haven't seen anything about that. All right, just seeing if I missed anything else. All right, guys. So cute. You guys are saying hi to each other. All right, so that's a transcript from the detective's questioning by the state. The state has relied on only one of the corroborating witnesses, Mr. Robert Crozier, to testify that the pills provided to Carmen Lauber were in fact fentanyl. He is the only witness who could potentially claim a direct connection between fentanyl and Ms. Richins. However, now that Mr. Crozier has stated under oath that he did not provide fentanyl to Ms. Lauber, the state is asking this court to find that one of their most important witnesses is no longer credible. I mean... I think the jury can also see that, okay, well, maybe if this guy said initially it was fentanyl and then now he's changing his mind and saying it's not fentanyl, maybe we don't really find him as a credible witness because maybe he is, maybe he is just lying right now. So I don't know. I feel like it can go either way for the jury. Maybe the jury can just discredit his testimony completely, or maybe the jury could just be like, okay, well, maybe he's lying now because he doesn't want to be responsible for selling fentanyl to someone that ultimately used it in a murder. Although ultimately Mr. Crozier's credibility will be determined by a jury. Oh, sorry, I was just saying that. At this stage, it is a province of the court to listen to Mr. Crozier and make that determination. Notably, it is never the job of the prosecution to determine the credibility of a witness, not for purposes of bail nor for any other purpose. Should this court find Mr. Crozier's testimony to be credible, the weight of the evidence in this case will be significantly changed from that which existed at the time of the last detention hearing in this matter. The elimination of the state's alleged link of fentanyl to the defendant is a material change in circumstances, and without it, the state can no longer claim the existence of substantial evidence sufficient to support the denial of bail. The state replied, and they essentially said that, hey, even if Mr. Crozier decides to change his story, we still have a lot of evidence on Kouri Richins that shows that she murdered Eric Richins, as what the state said. Seems like a lot of stories, Kouri story. We have too many rhymes today. Kouri, story, Lori. The fact remains that Kouri brought illicit drugs on the street. Seems like a lot of Kouri's story. Convenient. Okay, I had a hard time reading that. I watch Charlie Adelson's whole trial. The defense drove me crazy. Boy, he screams a lot. I didn't get to watch the whole trial, but I did listen to his testimony, Wendy's testimony, and Jeff Lacosta's testimony. I do, however, I kind of want to rewatch some of the testimonies again because I want to know if Daniel Rashbaum did a really good job at defending Charlie Adelson. All right, so there's a quote here. The purpose of substantial evidence standard is to ensure that the quantum of evidence presented by the state sufficiently justifies the denial of the defendant's right to freedom from pre-trial incarceration. The district court must reach a decision without viewing the evidence in light favorable to any party. Instead, it must evaluate the strength of the evidence presented by both sides and make credible judgments where necessary. I mean, I think I agree with the state. Even if we have this drug dealer who changes, decides to change his testimony, I still think they have a lot of evidence against Kouri Richins. Because the state is now placing Mr. Crozier's credibility into question, the defense is requesting an in-person hearing to enable this court to observe Mr. Crozier's testimony and demeanor and to decide whether Mr. Crozier's credibility is sufficient to support Ms. Richins' claims that there is no longer substantial evidence to support a jury verdict of guilt. Such a finding would require the setting of bail as a matter of law. For the reasons stated herein and in Ms. Richins' motion to reconsider bail, the defendant respectfully requests that the court schedule a detention hearing as soon as practicable and release Ms. Richins on a combination of bail and conditions. So far in the Kouri Richins, oh gosh, there's so much happening here. So far in the Kouri Richins court schedule, I think we don't have a hearing until January. But I was wondering, are we going to have a scheduled hearing sometime soon to discuss everything that's happening right now? Because here's what I got right now. For Kouri Richins, we don't have a pre-trial conference is going to be in December. So in I guess like over a month from now. So we'll see if they're going to have another hearing a lot sooner than that. So I read this transcript over it already. What is this one? Reply to state's opposition to defendant's requests for order compelling disclosure of exculpatory evidence. So this is where the defense essentially told the judge to tell the state to give them any exculpatory evidence that is in their possession because they think that the state is holding on to some shit and is hiding from them, which is a huge no-no. Now, the state did reply saying that we don't have anything. No, we don't have anything. And so now this is the defense's reply to it. In its request for order compelling disclosure of exculpatory evidence, defense counsel moved this court for a standing order imposing a 3-day deadline on the prosecution to disclose the following to the defense. So they want emails, they want text messages, they want phone numbers, they want recordings, they want video footage and or any other form of correspondence involving the prosecution teams or any other law enforcement official and Robert Crozier, including correspondence about setting up a meeting and any sort of summaries of the meeting. I want to know if there's body cam footage or if there's recordings of the Starbucks meeting. So I think there's a body cam footage of when they interviewed Robert Crozier the first time while he was detoxing and when he said that it was fentanyl that he sold to Carmen Lauber. However, when the detective and the prosecution team, I forgot who it was one of the attorneys from the state. I think when they met up with Robert Crozier in Starbucks, I don't know if there's a recorder or anything. I'm assuming probably not. All notes, correspondence, or reports prepared by law enforcement officials or any members of the prosecution team discussing Robert Crozier's interview in April or in any other dates, any statements, recordings, we got reports, notes, or in whatever medium, including emails and texts, that tend to negate guilt. Defense also requested an order requiring the prosecution disclose on the record or to reduce to writing and provide to the defense all oral statements discovered when interviewing witnesses that tend to negate guilt or contradict prior statements made by the witnesses, including those witnesses interviewed in prep for the last trial setting. In its opposition, the prosecution stated that defense's request should be denied because there's no undisclosed exculpatory evidence. It submitted 2 affidavits in support of their opposition. I wish we were able to read the affidavits, but they are under seal. One of the affidavits, I think it's from Brad Bloodworth, who is the main prosecution in this case. And then the other one, I think maybe one of the detectives that interviewed him. The state did not deny that they did not provide Mr. Crozier's statement that he never sold fentanyl, only oxy, to Carmen Lauber, but rather determined that it was not exculpatory. That's the part that I was wondering. When I last covered this, I think... when I last covered this and I posted a video about it, I think I ended with, well, let's say that, the state doesn't think that Kouri Richins should be released because even though we don't have, a firmed statement from the main witness saying that he sold fentanyl, even if they didn't have that, right? Like, should they have still reported back to the defense about that? Like, should they have that? Is that still considered evidence that you would kind of need to, turn over? I know it's not physical evidence, but is that still considered evidence that, needs to be reported back to the defense? I still have that lingering question. This was not the state's determination to make. Clearly, Mr. Crozier's statement recanting that he sold fentanyl is more potentially exculpatory, yet it was not provided to the defense. Therefore, the state should be required to turn over all statements made by witnesses as stated above, so the defense has all potentially exculpatory evidence prior to trial. So the defense is saying that, okay, well, the reason why the state didn't turn it over to us is because they're claiming it's not potentially exculpatory. However, that's their definition of it. Now, going by their definition, now I want to make sure we have all the statements because we can't have the state determining what's exculpatory, what's not, I guess. And then that, there's a disagreement on what's exculpatory and what needs to be turned over. But I don't know. I generally do wonder, to me, it seems like this defense probably should have known about that. Therefore, the state should be required to turn over all statements made by witnesses as stated above, so the defense has all potentially exculpatory evidence prior to trial. Further, the prosecution did not articulate an objection to the defense's standing order requests. With no objection to the standing order, the defense requests that the court grant the motion for a standing order. I don't follow anything with Trooper Proctor, so I don't know any updates about that. The only updates I know are the YouTube thumbnails that pop up my feed. Last I heard was he withdrew his... Oh, there's a mosquito in here. He withdrew his appeal. Oh my God, I killed it. Oh, it's in my hand. Jesus. Ew. Oh God, his legs are stuck in my hands now. Yeah, I'm not really up to date with that. I follow the Karen Reed's case, but any of the aftermath stuff I did not follow. I'm way behind, but Lori's well aware people can get drugs in prison. Yeah, yeah. Hi, Chris. How are you doing today? Not only that, but Lori should also be aware that people can get medications while they're in prison. Okay, maybe not like illegally. You know, they could also get it like in the correct through the correct methods as well. Did I read the rest of this? I think I did, right? Okay, I did. All right, next. So this part is quite messy. So like I said, there's drama between Kouri Richins and there's drama between her husband's family members because Kouri thought that, you know, when Eric passes away, whether or not it was through murder or something else or accidental, that when Eric passes away, she would gain control of his estate. She would gain control of the trust, and she would essentially be able to gain control of his business as well. That was her understanding of it. Because remember, Kouri Richins, if she divorces Eric Richins, she doesn't get she wouldn't have a oh no, there's like a specific term for it. An interest? Is that what they use in the wording? She wouldn't have an interest in his business. So essentially, like if Kouri and Eric were to divorce, then Kouri would not be able to, you know, get her palms, you know, claw into Eric Richins' business and, you know, the money that he was making from that, right? But if Eric Richins passed away, then Kouri Richins would be made as a co-partner, and then she would have interest in his business. But it could be argued that the reason why Kouri, you know, might have wanted to murder Eric was because that's how she can really maximize her money, I guess. I don't know. That's just how greedy murderers might look at it, right? So she has beef with the sister because the sister is the one that has control over the estate and, you know, the house and all that stuff. And when Kouri found that out, apparently she punched the sister out, and there's this whole thing with that. Like this whole thing is super, super messy. But at some point, Kouri Richins was trying to gain access to some privileged conversations, communications, documents from the private investigator that was hired by Katie Richins. Katie Richins is the sister. So I think she goes by Katie Richins Benson. Yeah, Katie Richins Benson. So she essentially, there was a subpoena that was sent over to the private investigators, and the private investigators were like, oh, we got the subpoena to provide these documents. I think one of the documents was business records, like banking records, something like that. But the private investigators were like, well, this is like attorney work product privilege. I can't just give this to you. If you want to issue a subpoena to us, you're really going to have to direct it at the attorneys who are the one that's representing the trust, and also the attorneys that are working for Katie Richins Benson. And so I think the judge made a ruling saying that, okay, well, you know, Kouri, we're going to deny this. You're not going to be able to get these documents. And then honestly, I wasn't really following it while this was happening. I was following like the crime stuff. I wasn't following all the family drama stuff. So, and it's really messy. There's just a lot of other lawsuits happening in the background right now. They're fighting over, you know, the marital home. They're fighting over the trust. They're fighting over the kids. Lots of stuff. Corgi, where is your 100K YouTube statue? It's actually in my husband's office. I don't have it in here. It's in my husband's office. Somewhere in there. I think it's like on the shelf or something. So where we're at right now, I think Kouri is making an accusation at Katie, saying that Katie is forging these documents. She's using money that's from the trust to pay private investigators to follow Kouri, to investigate Kouri. And what Katie and her attorneys are saying, they're trying to say that Kouri is just trying to harass Katie, and that Kouri is just trying to drive up the legal fees. So I'm just gonna, on the surface level, we're just gonna read some of the documents here. But like I said, I'm mostly covering all the criminal aspect of it, and then we are really starting to get into like the financial fraud stuff of it. But all the family drama stuff, like it's fucking a lot. It's a lot. So I think we're gonna jump over to this document right here. You guys can see it. It's 217 pages, and don't worry, we're not reading 217 pages. We're not even gonna barely touch it. The reason why it's so long is because the trust is attached to it, and the trust is like, it's like 1 million pages. But I think we're going to jump over to page 188. 188. This one is the objection of Kouri Richins Benson's personal representative to Kouri Richins' estate, Kouri Richins' statement of discovery issues. I don't know why there are letters missing in here. Something happened when they attached these documents, and we just got like, I don't know, we got some like letters missing in there. I'm not too sure why it looks like this. Although she stands to gain no personal benefit from doing so, Katie, again, Eric's sister, is faithfully acting to carry out the last wishes of her deceased brother, Eric Richins, by serving as a personal representative of his estate and separately as a trustee of his trust. In her capacity as personal representative, Katie is obliged to marshal estate assets, pay estate expenses, and prosecute estate claims. To that end, she and her counsel engage Rudiger. Rudiger is the private investigation company, I think, to assist in investigating potential wrongful death claims that might arise from suspicious circumstances surrounding Eric's death. Eric died in his sleep in the middle of the night from a serious fentanyl overdose, and Rudiger is assisting the estate and only the estate. So I think Kouri's trying to say that, oh, Rudiger is really helping Katie, but they're saying that, no, they're working for the estate. In figuring out how it was that Eric managed to ingest more than 2 times the lethal limit of fentanyl while fast asleep. I think it's 5 times, not 2 times. While Katie has sufficiently educated Kouri about the nature of Rudiger's investigation for the estate, Kouri either misunderstands or ignores the differences between Katie's distinct roles as personal representative and trustee. Armed with the misunderstanding, she erroneously attempts to use the subpoena process in the case, and a case that solely involves Eric's trust, to gain access to privileged estate communications. She has no basis for doing so. As Kouri well knows, Katie has no relationship, agreement, or communications with Rudiger in her capacity as trustee. Wow, today is testing me. We got Kouri, Lori, Katie, Kouri. Oh gosh. As Kouri well knows, Katie has no relationship, agreement, or communications with Rudiger as her capacity as trustee. Further, because Rudiger is a legal professional representative with respect to the state, its communications with Katie and Katie's counsel are privileged and not discoverable. That's 188. And we got 194. So I pretty much gave you guys a recap, but this one goes into more of a little mini deep dive. This one, objection of Kouri Richins Benson, trustee, to Kouri Richins' statement of discovery issues. What page are we at? 194. This lawsuit is nothing more than a dispute over 3 things. 1, who owns decedent Eric Richins' home? Who is entitled to receive the proceeds of Eric's buy-sell agreement with his business partner? And 3, who is the lawful owner of the certain property that Eric owned prior to his death? Through her minute complaint, Kouri aims to shift the narrative by accusing Katie of hacking into Kouri's bank accounts, forging bank documents, and unlawfully depleting trust assets. Man, that's a heck of some accusations there. So we got hacking into Kouri's bank accounts, forging bank documents, and then I guess using the trust assets and using, money in the trust to pay the private investigator and investigating into Kouri, I'm assuming. Now, what's interesting to me is she's accusing Katie of forging bank documents. Well, you know who else is also accused of forging bank documents because they're trying to apply for these loans? Kouri. Kouri is accused of basically photoshopping her husband's company's what do you call it? Like headers, right? Yeah, the headers. The company's headers into her company's headers to make it seem like her bank account balance is, to make it seem like her husband's bank account balance is her bank account balance. To make it seem like she had a lot of cash flow. So she was applying for these loans, and these companies, would be like, oh, wow, you have a lot of money here. Oh, wait a second. Hold on. Why is your credit score so bad? And there was an instance where Kouri said her credit score was really bad because 1, her husband was doing some really weird shit and she found out about it, and there was a process of separation. That seems to be untrue. 2, that there was some random woman who knows where that basically stole her information and was, fucking up her credit. Anyways, this new conspiracy theory is a meritless distraction, and Kouri knows it. Indeed, over the past few months, and particularly during the party's Rule 37 conferral call? What is this word? Conferral call. I know what confer means, but conferral call? Katie provided more than enough information to lay Kouri's conspiracies to rest. But even assuming there was some substance to the conspiracy theory, the subpoena is a gross overreach. It asks for broad documents, It asks for a broad universe of documents that has no bearing on Kouri's claims, no bearing on Katie's defenses, and no evidentiary value whatsoever. There is no good reason to compel production information that is entirely irrelevant, especially given the significant privilege concerns about Katie. Concerns that Katie, a personal representative, and Rudiger have raised separately. Irrelevant evidence is neither admissible nor discoverable. I think we can hop through this. 196 to 198. Okay. The subpoena has nothing to do with Katie's. I feel like we're playing a word game here. It has nothing to do with Katie's role as trustee. Outside of a few conclusory statements that are merely recited buzzwords from Rule 26b3, Kouri does not explain how the subpoena seeks information about Katie's performance as trustee, as opposed to her irrelevant performance as personal representative. The closest she gets is by accusing Katie, in her role of trustee, of obtaining falsified bank statements to pursue wrongful claims against Kouri. The accusation misses the mark in several respects, and it demonstrates that Kouri continues to misunderstand the differences between Katie's separate roles as trustee and personal representative. First, as trustee, Katie is not pursuing any claims against Kouri other than the ones in her counterclaim. And none of those have anything to do with Rudiger's investigation, or the bank statements that Kouri fusses over. By contrast, in an entirely separate lawsuit, Rudiger is helping Katie, as personal representative, investigate possible wrongful death claims. Kouri knows as much because, 1, Katie plainly spelled it out for her during the party's Rule 37 conferral call, and that 2, she's a party to both cases. Yet, from what appears, Kouri is erroneously attempting to use her subpoena power here to strong-arm information and communications from an expert witness in a different case that has nothing to do with either the trust or Kouri's claims against the trust. If Kouri believes that she has a legitimate basis to obtain that information through discovery or in the estate, she can try her hand there. But she cannot use her subpoena power here to force a disclosure information that she has no bearing on the trust. Second, as trustee, Katie has no relationship with Rudiger. She did not hire Rudiger as trustee, does not have any agreements with Rudiger as trustee, and is not using trust funds to pay Rudiger. Thus, nothing that Rudiger has obtained during his investigation is relevant. Oh boy, here's another word game. Katie's correspondence with Rudiger. In her capacity as trustee, Katie does not have any correspondence with Rudiger. It is simple as that. And since any communications in her capacity as personal representative are irrelevant and absolutely privileged, it is not proportional for Kouri to obtain them in this lawsuit. Disclosure is unreasonable given the actual claims at issue, and there is consequently no substantive benefit to their disclosure. And even if there were some benefit, it is de minimis in comparison to the burdens associated with producing privileged communications. Oh boy, what is this one? Rudiger's statements? Rudiger's... Anyone go with word games here? Who's good at Jeopardy? No, Wheel of Fortune. Rudiger's... And don't say Lori. Rudiger's something statements. I don't know what that word is right here. Someone guess. Kouri, don't you forge bank documents. Lol. Kouri, my dog ate my homework. The apple doesn't fall from the other apples, but Kouri could be making it up. I want sleeping pills. My doctor is pain. Oh, it's a pain in the butt. I only get 10 in time. And everything's like it's bad. It makes me so tired, rambling hours and hours, and still can't sleep. Oh, sorry to hear that. The only possible relevance in Rudiger's billing statements. I should have just kept reading. The only possible relevance that Rudiger's billing statements have here is to help Kouri determine whether the trust is paying for Rudiger's services. But Kouri already knows the answer to that question. In fact, Katie expressly told her during the party's Rule 37 conferral call that 1, the state is paying Rudiger's bills. 2, there is no fee agreement. 3, the trust has in no way funded Rudiger's work. Given that reality, Kouri's demand for invoices between Rudiger and the state are irrelevant. Even if Kouri will not take Katie at her word, Kouri's demands are not proportional. The statement notably omits that Katie has already offered to produce financial documents showing that she is not using trust assets to pay Rudiger. What is more, even if Katie had not made that offer, Kouri very recently propounded. I've never heard of the word propounded before. What is a propounded? Propounded. Kouri has propounded. Put forward an idea, a theory, or point of view for consideration by others. Put forward. Propound. Okay, cool. We learned a new word today. Unless you guys already know what propounded meant. What is more, even if Katie has not made that offer, Kouri has recently propounded a set of discovery requests that ask for our documents evidencing any trust expenditures from March 1, 2022 to present. In short, Kouri can readily obtain the information she's looking for from another source, and that other source will not invade any other privilege. What is this one? Correspondence with the sheriff's office? I don't know what that first word is. Easian. Maybe we'll find out while reading this paragraph. Even a cursory glance at Kouri's complaint shows that none of it has anything to do with Rudiger's wrongful death investigation. At most, the complaint takes issues with 1, some alleged bank irregularities, and 2, Rudiger's supposed efforts to surveil and follow Kouri. While it might be one thing if subpoena narrowly asks for information on those topics only, it goes much further than that. Kouri wants Rudiger's entire files, including things like autopsy reports, privileged communications, work product notes, witness statements, photographs, and phone logs. Ignoring for the moment that the investigation is an estate matter, not a trust matter, how would an autopsy report bear on whether Katie forged bank records? It will not. Or how would communications with the sheriff's office help determine who owns the home and who gets the buy-sell proceeds? They could not. What do Eric's phone records relate to Rudiger's surveillance activities? Nothing. This exercise can go on and on and on, and it underscores just how far the subpoena overreaches. We have one more. Here's some factual background. Plaintiff Kouri Richins is asking third-party Rudiger to do something it cannot do, produce documents separate and apart from the attorneys from whom Rudiger has retained as a consulting expert. Rudiger is a private investigating firm that is serving on a privileged and confidential basis as a consulting expert to Bennett Tuller Johnson Deere law firm. Bennett Tuller represents the defendant in this matter, Katie Richins Benson, in her capacity as a trustee of the Eric Richins Living Trust. Bennett Tuller is also counsel to Mr. Katie Richins Benson in her capacity, Mrs. in her capacity, given Rudiger's role as a consulting expert that is performing privileged work for Bennett Tuller. Rudiger cannot produce documents or other information independently from Bennett Tuller. Notwithstanding Rudiger's role as a consulting expert for the counsel, plaintiff has improperly attempted to invade the confidential relationship between consulting expert and counsel and has misrepresented the relevant procedural history in doing so. The factual record, which plaintiff misconstrues in her statement, is as follows. I don't know if we're going to read all this because I think we kind of just went over the meat of it. This is 202. Yeah, I don't think we need to read all this. This is when they're trying to meet and confer anything and talk about getting those bank records. Okay, yeah, I think we're just gonna end it right there. I was actually confused why this popped up under this case number because I know they have a separate case number where they are suing each other, and that's where they're fighting over the estate, they're fighting over the trust, they're fighting over the house, all that other stuff, and who owns what and who gets what. So it was interesting that it popped up in here, and I think that's why I wasn't really following it in here because I thought it was all separate. But that is the update with Kouri Richins. So again, we'll see if the judge is going to put in the calendar for maybe a hearing that's sooner than December. Because one, they want Kouri Richins to be out on bail. And two, they want the judge to tell the state to, you know, provide all the communications, emails, text messages, everything that could be exculpatory to Kouri Richins. So that's it for Kouri Richins for today. But again, she's, you know, pointing her fingers at her, you know, sister-in-law and saying that the sister-in-law is doing some weird things with the trust's money and that she is using the private investigator to investigate into Kouri and then was following her around. Obviously not anymore because Kouri Richins is currently in jail right now. But yeah, that's pretty much the update that I got for Lori today. Lori, restitution hearing, and then Kouri Richins with the update with her case. But I will keep an eye out to see if there's going to be more responses or if they're going to put anything in the calendar to have I don't know, some sort of like an emergency hearing of some sort. Yeah, Lori is technically a serial killer, right? Is there a different category for a serial killer, or does serial killer just means that you just kill more than one victim? Or is it like, does serial killer have like a different, very like niche category where you're a serial killer if you do X, Y, and Z and not just have multiple victims? I propound that Kouri is a murderous psychopath. Lori should just be quiet. What is she arguing about now? She's got nothing to lose. That's just the end of it. She's got nothing to lose. She's got these fights with the judge, with the prosecutor, and I think she really knows how to hold a grudge, you know? This Jesus-loving woman who you would think, you know, would be more forgiving of the other people, but no, she really is just pity. Not pity, not pitiful. Petty, that's the word I was about to say. She's really petty, and I think she holds on to those grudges, and any chance she can get to lash out for something that happened months ago and maybe lash out now when there's no reason to lash out, she'll fucking do it. She'll fucking take it. I mean, we've seen it over and over again. But yeah, she's always going to keep bringing it up. They're like, oh, my trial was unfair, or you're just going to rule anyways. It doesn't matter what I say. It's like, no, Lori, maybe you're just making really shitty arguments, you know? Maybe the arguments that you're making has no grounds. So, I mean, I don't know. I guess, like, what do you expect from a woman that has no experience, you know, in law, and she wants to represent herself? I feel like that takes a really special type of person with, and it's not even confidence, it's just arrogance, I would say. Thinking Lori is just arrogant enough to think that she's smarter than people, other people in the room with her. So, yep, that's all I got for today for Lori and Kouri. Lori, Kouri, and then the Kouri Katie drama. How are you guys doing today? You guys have any plans for Halloween? You guys got anything going on? My mouse is dying. Let me recharge it real quick. I have my costumes that I'm going to order, but I don't know. Oh, I have to email a person from Etsy to see if she can ship it out still tomorrow. I ordered this really cool flower crown, you know, from Midsommar. I hope it gets here on time. I paid a little too much for the shipping because it was a kind of like a last minute decision. But I can't wait. I hope I'm able to do the costume. If not, my backup costume is just going to be maybe like a very scuffed Annabelle. I don't know. I couldn't find a good Annabelle costume. Or my third backup is maybe like Chucky or something, you know. Is it Chucky? Yeah, I think it's Chucky. So I'll be one of those threes. It is our first cold day of the season. My birthday was last Thursday. Oh, hey, happy belated birthday. Today is really cold and I love it. And I'm wearing a sweater today. But there's going to be a fucking heat advisory in LA after today. Like, what the hell, man? It's going to go back to 90 degrees weather on Thursday or something like that. I'm like, why? Can the weather just be cool and chill? I'm so over the whole 80, 90 degree weather. Delusion is the word. Yeah, she's got the Delulu sickness. Spree killers, serial killers kill 3 or more people over time with psychological behavior pattern connecting the murders. Spree killer. Oh, thanks. Thanks, Silver Snake. Thank you. All right, guys. Well, that's pretty much it for today. I will keep an eye out if there's anything else. Someone mentioned earlier something about Donna Adelson and like Dateline or something. I don't know. I didn't say anything about that, so I do apologize. But if you guys know anything about it, feel free to post that in the Discord. If you haven't already, feel free to join the Discord. We do have a true crime section. If there's any updates about the cases that we are covering, or if there's a new case that you think might be interesting, feel free to post it in the true crime channel on the Discord. We also have a non-true crime channel as well. You want to post other stuff like, cute pet photos or recipes or garden stuff, post it all in there. Hi, Traveler. Wait, Traveler's Thread. Did you change your username? Wait a second. Is YouTube doing something weird where because you know how sometimes you can have two usernames? You can have the username that everyone sees, and then you could have the registered username with YouTube. Is that what's happening here? I feel like either people are changing their usernames or YouTube is doing something weird and some of your guys' name is different. Like Morton, I think Morton is usually Morton Dark, but now you're like Morton Dark 70. Oh, it's gone now. No, YouTube has the handles right now for updates. Oh, okay. Yeah, like you guys have numbers now, and why do they do that? Interesting. So I guess, is it so people can't have redundant usernames? And for impersonation reasons? Is that why? They're updating their system. Okay. I also want them to get rid of the stupid @ sign. I don't know if you guys can see it. Oh, wait, hold on a second. Why is chat not showing on my... You guys are showing my screen. Isn't it so redundant to have the @ sign show up over and over again? We don't need that. Why do we need the @ sign? YouTube, get rid of the @ sign. Or maybe on my end, I can make it so the chat looks a certain way. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it's me. Yeah, Morton, you're Morton 7067. You're not just Morton Dark anymore. Now there's 7,067s of you. Same thing with Paul. Paul Good, there's 2,531s of yous at a minimum. All right, guys. Well, I am going to... What are we going to do today? I got some work to do and work, edit, and then, yeah. Oh, by the way, guys, new vlog is out. Feel free to check out the new vlog on the second channel. You can see Remy. Remy's in there. He's very cute. What's the link for the new vlog? Oh, there it is. There's a link for the new vlog. If you guys want to go check it out, go check out the second channel. But other than that, guys, I hope you have a good one. Hope you guys take care. Thank you so much for stopping by. It was good seeing you guys again. And I will... Oh, and Twitch as well. Thanks for popping in. I appreciate you guys being here. I will see you guys later. Have a good one and take care. Yeah, you guys look different now because I was like, oh, some of the names are very different in here. But you know what? I can see your profile pictures. So at least I can recognize most of you guys. But if I call you by a different name and you're confused, blame YouTube. Okay, it's YouTube's fault. Also, I think Cheryl says... I was going to say Cheryl says bye, but Cheryl's not even in here. Oh, Cheryl left me. It's probably because I'm talking too loud. Sometimes if he really wants to get some good sleep and I'm talking and I'm going on and on, he's like, bitch, I'm leaving. Bye. So I'll see you guys. Have a good one. Take care. And I will see you guys later. Thank you so much. Bye.